All right, what is going on, everybody? I'm back here. I'm not with Trevor, Zach, or Zomp tonight. Neither of them could join me. Zach was going to join, but he's with his family tonight. But basically, this is a show kind of talking about the long-term longevity or how they try to use Jalen Hurts going down the road. And honestly, it kind of came to my mind today. I was still getting over the second-round pick over a month. It took me a while to get over that pick. I assume it took you guys a while to get over it as well. Now, before I start, obviously, shout out to Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports for this. It's actually okay. It's not that great, but it's all right. But shout out to you guys. But basically, I was on Twitter for the last 2 days. Now, you guys saw my rant on Carson Wentz about 2 days ago with Zach on live. I was talking about that situation. Now, back and forth, we go with Twitter. And, I'm trying to figure out why we picked Jalen Hurts in the second round. And it kind of stuck to my mind today why we picked him. Now, they signed Carson Wentz to a 4-year contract extension last offseason, all right, which means the deal kicks into place effectively this season, all right, and there's an out after 2022. Now, after 2022, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles put this into their mind. They're like, all right, so Carson Wentz really hasn't played up to his standards since 2017, where he looked brilliant. He looked like the best the best professional QB in the league. So basically, we have an out after 2022. It'll be his third year of his contract. We have an out. We can either trade him away to a team looking for a 1-year deal at quarterback because they need a quarterback, or we could stick with him and trade Jalen Hurts away that we've groomed for the last couple of years and get top assets, maybe a top pick overall. Who knows? Maybe we could get a first-round pick overall. But something tells me in the back of my mind that the Philadelphia Eagles know exactly what they're doing. They're lying to Carson Wentz. They're basically saying, you are our guy, and there's nothing that's going to change that down the road. But in the back of their mind, they're like, listen, this is an insurance policy in case shit hits the fan. And Carson Wentz, as I know it, as most of the smart people out there know it, smart fans know it out there, Carson Wentz is not the most durable guy when it comes to the National Football League. He's not. You have to rely on a quarterback playing 16 games a year, as he's done twice. He's done it twice, not all 4 years. And in those games, you have to be productive the whole game. And he hasn't. He's taken sacks. He's thrown away bad balls. He missed open targets. And he hasn't been the same guy since 2017. Last year, like, his numbers were flashy. He threw for 4,000 yards to, let's face it, acme players like Zomp likes to say. But nothing. If you're watching the game, nothing in the games that he was playing were flashy. They were just stats. If you look at the stats, you're like, wow, this guy's really good. Not really. He was playing garbage teams. He played one team that quit on their coach, the Dallas Cowboys, at home. And that was basically, what did we score? 17 points. They scored 9. They didn't show up at all. If they showed up like they did week 17 against Washington, they should have kicked our ass. We weren't a very good team last year at all. We went to the playoffs. He takes himself out of the game, and the rest is history. Josh McCown, if he didn't tear his hamstring, maybe we could have won that game. Who knows? But the thing with Jalen Hurts is I really don't think that he's a good player. I don't, because the amount of college football I watch, his playing style doesn't really correlate to the NFL's playing style. But in the back of their minds, I feel like, this guy's a 21-year-old. He was a top 10 dual threat coming out of high school. He was a top 300 prospect coming out of high school. He's played on the big stage with Oklahoma and Alabama. One of those games being in the national championship game where he did get pulled at halftime for Tua Tagovailoa, however you say that name. And they're basically saying, if we could groom this guy and have him sit the bench for 2 to 3 years, maybe we could have an out with Carson Wentz and just give him away and have this guy lead the team. Because they are trying to get younger. Let's face it, the Super Bowl is about to be out of the window, and everyone realizes this. You have to protect your assets. You have to protect your franchise, and if this guy doesn't turn out to be the guy that you think he was back in 2017, it could be a huge shit show. It really can, and I hate to say this, but I don't know. I really don't know what to think when it comes to the Carson Wentz situation. I don't. Because back in 2016, when all of the fans, and I'm saying basically all the fans, because I'm going to say 10% of the fan base really was for the Carson Wentz pick. They really were, like, jumping up from 13 to 8 to 2. Basically, some people said we sold the farm for him. There was only about 10% of the fan base that wanted this guy. And I was one of them. I was like, listen, Sam Bradford's trash. He's not going to lead us to the promised land. Why not go up and get a quarterback for the future? The guy's really young. He was only 23 years old, and he could lead us for years. And I actually wasn't for going with Sam Bradford into that year. I was for starting Carson Wentz right off the bat. And the rest is history. They did start him off the bat. But you really have to look at the big picture. Ever since 2017, this guy lost. It looks like he lost movement, like it lost feeling in his lower body. That's what it looks like. And I just don't think he's ever going to be the same player. And you saw it last year. He tried to stay in the pocket more. He kind of failed miserably at staying in the pocket. The only time he was really successful was rolling out of the pocket and finding the wide open target, which he did about maybe 30% of the time. But whenever he was in the pocket, he was dreadful. And I don't know if the Eagles are looking to do that for the next 7 years, which is why they only gave him a 4-year contract. And they chose Jalen Hurts in the second round. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like what I'm saying, but it's the God's honest truth. It really is. And I actually want to bring up this comment from my boy Rob, Eagles fan for life 17. He says there's no long-term answer. Okay, that is true. There's no long-term answer because Carson Wentz, we don't know what we're going to get from him. And you can't really sign him to a 7 or 8 year extension because we don't know what we're going to get from him. If you sign him too early, you're stuck with him and he could be damaged goods. We don't know. But for Jalen Hurts, I totally get the pick. I totally why they picked him in the second round. They wanted their guy. They saw potential in him and they're like, fuck, if we get the regular Carson Wentz back, the guy from 2017, we could trade this guy away. I know exactly why they did it now. And it's been stuck in my head for maybe the last 5 hours, and these fans are still attacking me about this whole Carson Wentz thing, or why I don't think he's the same guy. And I just don't understand where these fans are showering this guy with love potentially, like they see that he is this guy that could bring us to the next level by himself. You know what I'm saying? Zach Harris, my colleague. Jalen Hurts is an insurance policy. They see the talent he has, also see the injuries. They can build him to one of the best backups in the league. And hey, if the injuries add up and Hurts progresses to a franchise talent, it's a win-win. If Wentz plays like we all know he can play, Hurts plays spots and plays well, we could trade him and use him as an asset. Exactly what I just said, word for word. They're going to use him as an asset, good or bad. Well, not good or bad, just good. It's a win-win. You're going to trade Hurts away. You're going to groom him for 2 years in the professional level, and you're going to trade him away if Wentz turns back to what he was. But if he's not, in 2022, they're going to get rid of him. They are. That's the fact of the matter. And this is the smartest move from the front office that I've seen in the last 10 years. It really is. And it's an A-plus draft to me. Now that I look at it, it's an A-plus draft to me. You know, and Erica Janet's on Facebook says, ever since Wentz's injury, he hasn't been the same. He hasn't. He has not been the same. And I've been saying that. And I'm going to pull your comment back up just to give it some substance. He has not been the same since 2017. You know, 2018, he hurt his back. I think it was after the Giants game, if I'm not mistaken. After that Colts game, you know, he did that spin-a-rooney act, the Houdini act, where he got out of pressure. That was like the first time we saw that since 2017. When was the last time, ever since that Colts game, that you've seen him have a play like that? It's been a while. It's been a long time, probably since the Colts game. He hasn't been able to evade pressure like that. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars game, he ducked under pressure, but ever since that, I haven't seen it. I really haven't. It's like he likes taking sacks. I just feel like in the back of his mind, he knows that his legs are shot and he can't play the game that he once was able to. That's just my honest opinion. And thank you for the comment, Eric Janetz. I really appreciate Erica Janetz. I really appreciate it. And Cruise Sign 26, Giants fan says, I laughed at the pick originally, but I really thought about it. It was a good pick. It was a good pick. It was a really, really solid pick. I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy, but I understand why they picked him right then and there. I do. And, you know, me being an Eagles fan that actually has a brain, and I'm sorry I keep bashing Eagles fans, but, you know, some of us are really stupid. You know, it's a football move. You're protecting your assets. And Erica Janet says he hasn't had a strong O-line. I disagree with that. I really disagree with that. You know, I feel like we've had one of the best offensive line I think for the last 3 years, we've had one of the best offensive lines in the game. I really do. Like Jason Kelce at center. I don't even know if he's still coming back. Braden Brooks obviously went down during the playoffs 2 years ago, but other than that, he's been all right. He struggles from anxiety. When Lane Johnson went down, he really had a bad case of it. But other than that, Braden Brooks is one of the best offensive linemen in the league. You have Jason Peters potentially coming back. You have Andre Dillard, still a project. I don't think Andre Dillard's anything special, but you still have that option there. And Eagle Speed with a comment. How much playing time does Hurts get in the preseason? I hope they give him a ton, at least 2 games. Carson Wentz, in my opinion, he needs to get his snaps and repetitions this preseason. It is very key, and you have to focus in on his repetitions in the preseason. I said this last year, and people were like, it doesn't matter. We don't need him to play in the preseason because he could potentially get hurt. It doesn't matter if he could potentially get hurt. Listen, if he gets hurt, it's just not meant to be. It's not meant to be. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. It's not meant to be. You move on. You take Jalen Hurts, the guy that you picked number 2 with your second pick overall in the draft, and you go with him. He needs to get his repetitions. He can't start slow. He has to stop starting slow every single game. It's like first the Detroit Lions, starting slow. First the Atlanta Falcons, starting slow. Washington Redskins, starting slow. Dallas Cowboys, starting slow. New England Patriots started fast, but then declined. It's like, how many games can you start slow and expect to win at the end of them? I don't understand it. It's like this guy has it's just weird. It's weird, And the fact of the matter is, I don't like when fan bases coddle a guy so much. But there's just a weird thing going on with this fan base. They just want to protect him so much for whatever reason, because we won that Super Bowl in 2017, and he was a piece to it. But because if we didn't draft Carson Wentz, let's face it, guys, if we didn't draft Carson Wentz in 2016, that Super Bowl would have never happened because Sam Bradford probably would have still been the quarterback. So it was a big help. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a help in a way. But let's see if we have anything else over here. I'm tired of Eagles fans talking about Wentz. He's here to stay for now, and no point of talking about it. Of course, there's a point of talking about him. He's a quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. There's always points to talk about him. He is the captain of the ship, and if the ship goes down, he goes down with it. It's not the other way around. Wentz will never be the same. I agree. Personally, I agree. It hurts, but I agree. He lost his first step. When you lose your first step as a player and it's all you know, you're done. You're done, which is why the Philadelphia Eagles chose Jalen Hurts so they could groom him for 2 years. They saw it last year. The guy could barely run anymore. Hurts is trade bait. He sucks. I personally think he stinks too. He was a top 10 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school, so that could be beneficial towards us. I don't think he's that great, but if they groom him and he turns out to be anything special, who knows? Maybe we could get great assets for him. I'm sorry I would take Dak over Wentz. I don't like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott stays healthy every single season, and he doesn't prove anything. I don't think Dak's anything that special, honestly. Nothing wrong with holding your own players accountable. Even Brady plays like shit sometimes. Brady looked horrible last year at the end of the season. Terrible. New Sean Mez. I'm looking at these comments. Not Frank. Eagles were an average team last year. They were worse than average, and they still somehow won the division. I don't know how they did. Someone's calling me a hater. That's typical. Nitro Freak, congratulations on the success of your new podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The other guys, Zompster, Zach Harris, and Trevor Harris, will be on next Wednesday as we talk about Donovan McNabb. And I don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but it's going to be about Donovan McNabb. We just don't know yet. New comments. Wentz will prove doubters wrong. This Hurts pick will add another dimension to the offense and hopefully keep this O from stalling. Well, I hope you're right, Zach, but personally, I don't see it. In 2017, I had a video titled, and I'll look at this up real quick. I had a video titled in 2016 that why are Eagles fans complaining about the number 2 pick trading up to number 2? And I had a Philly fan rant because nobody in Philly liked us trading up to number 2 because they didn't know, one, who Carson Wentz was. I barely knew who he was, too, until I saw the highlights. And 2, they're just morons. They're fucking idiots. They coddle the wrong person. They boo the right person. Well, they boo the wrong person. They coddle the wrong person. And it's weird. It's weird to me. Always has been, always will be. Young says Wentz is definitely underrated. I don't think he's underrated at all. I think he is what he is, and you look at it every single year. I love Wentz, but he's not better than Rodgers. Breeze, Mahomes, Wilson. He needs to get better reps in preseason. I said that last year, and they did not do it. I like that you're not biased and don't ride Wentz, to be honest. I'm not. I'm the most unbiased fan around. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And a lot of people do not like that about me. I've had people have death threats sent my way because I've talked shit on my own team. Like I have. But it's the fact of the matter. I want the team to get better. I want the best pieces to be put in the right positions at all times. And a lot of people just don't seem to get that. I just want everything to be perfect with the Philadelphia Eagles going down the road. I just do. And these fans just ruin everything. These fans, number one, run everyone out of town. All right. Well, let's talk about that right now. Fans would usually run a quarterback or a player out of town when they're performing badly. But when Wentz performs badly, let me mind you, against the Cowboys in October, and the game was over in 3 minutes, couldn't do anything. I was there. I was livid. And after a game like that, you supposedly hate the Cowboys with a passion, and you literally just let them butt fuck us on national TV. But no, it wasn't Wentz's fault. Let's move on. You're such a great guy, Wentz. I love Jesus like you do. You hate the Cowboys, but you're talking about Carson Wentz like he could do no wrong. If this were the Philly fans of old, this guy would have been run out of town already. Like literally been run out of town. It's weird. It's just weird. Let me see. Zach Harris, my colleague on the show, Carson is 100% the now and the future, but we need to hold him to the highest standards. I think he can become one of the, if not the best QB in the league. I completely disagree with that comment as much as I want to agree with you, Zach. I don't think he could be anywhere near the best quarterback in the league. I think that title will be with Patrick Mahomes for the next decade. Carson Wentz is not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is like Houdini out there. Patrick Mahomes is everything that Carson Wentz was in 2017, but he's consistent. And the thing with consistency is Patrick Mahomes got injured, but he didn't get injured in the wrong place. Carson Wentz literally had his knee torn out. And when you have your knee torn out, some people can take it, and some people just shy away from the moment just a little bit. And from what I've seen the last 2 years, Carson Wentz is definitely one of those guys. Okay, Jamie Boswell says, I just feel like you don't need him to be the 2017 Wentz to be successful as a team. Still can be successful with him being a top 10 to 12 quarterback. I like that comment, but the team needs to play as one. The team needs to gel like they did in 2017, which they did, which helped Wentz go to the next level, because when a team plays together like a band of brothers, everyone plays together and you try to win the games as one, If everyone wants Wentz to do it by himself and be an MVP every single year, it's not going to happen because he can't do it by himself. He's not that type of quarterback. That's not how he's wired. He needs the pieces around him. You got him a bunch of track pieces this year. Let's see what he does. Let's prove it. I'm not going to be like, this guy's going to win the MVP this year. Based off what I've seen out of the last 2 years, what tells me that? Nothing tells me that. Literally nothing. I wouldn't go – let me ask you guys that are saying that right now. Would you guys go up to the sportsbook right now, put $1,000 on Carson Wentz to win the MVP at 20-1 right now? Would you do it? Would you gamble your own money away, or are you just too chicken shit and just like to talk shit on the internet for literally no reason? All right? Because right now there's about 10 people in front of him for MVP when it comes to the sportsbook, because they see what I see. The guy had it. I don't know if he does anymore. He needs to be serviceable. He cannot do it by himself like he did in 2017. Because he's just not that type of player. He's not. He's just not. And Chuckles 152 asks, what do you see? I see a guy that was once a great player, and he's not a great player anymore. Carson Wentz, he was this great MVP type of player back in 2017 against the Rams, had one of the best games of his career. I still think that was his best overall game of his career. You don't see him play like that anymore. You just don't. And people coddle the fuck out of this guy. When Scott Rowland left town, people booed the shit out of him, even though he tore his knees on that dump-ass turf at Veterans Stadium. And they booed the shit out of Jimmy Rollins when he came back. They love booing all these players that return that help their team out. But they coddle a guy that is not helping. He's not doing anything to help this team. He's not. And people ask me all the time, all right, so Scott Rowland was a bum. Well, he wasn't a bum. He won a World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals. He wasn't a bum. Did you watch the last 4 games of the season? I'll get to that comment right now. Chuckles, the last 4 games of the season, who were they against? the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys who quit on their coach. They scored 9 points. That was all the defense. You're going to tell me that Dak Prescott, with all those weapons, they only scored 9 points against us? That was all Carson Wentz? No, it wasn't. All right. The Giants, who won, 3 games last year? We beat them in the Meadowlands when they were done. They had nothing to play for. Literally, to beat us? It doesn't matter because we were just a little bit better than them. And we played on turf field, which made everyone faster. As dumb as that kind of sounds, it's true. Chuckles also says he had nobody. Well, if he had nobody, why were the players actually getting wide open? You know, when players are wide open on the field, like Perriman last year was wide open down the field on the 40-yard line, he threw a dime to him. He was wide open on the field. These players were getting wide open. All right? Everyone wants to say that he didn't have anyone. He didn't have Greg Ward, who actually performed. He overperformed last year. Greg Ward is probably a practice squad guy if players got hurt. I understand what you're saying when he had nobody, but players were wide open at times, and he can't survey the field. He looks at one side of the field, you know, and when he doesn't roll out, he's useless. He needs to roll out. He needs to be mobile. He needs to think on his feet and survey the field on the run, or else he's useless. And he doesn't do that anymore. He tries to stay in the pocket. And in the pocket, he has one of the worst passer ratings in the league, in the whole league. You know? And we're going to play. We have a tough-ass schedule this year. We play Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Seattle, the Saints, the Cowboys twice. We have a very tough schedule this year. Now, thank God we got Jalen Reagor, and thank God Deshaun Jackson's coming back. We have speed this year. Thank God. But it's going to prove a lot. And if Wentz can get out of the pocket and run on his feet and throw to the wide open guy, I think we can be a dangerous threat this year. I just don't see it because I haven't seen it the last 2 years. The last 2 years I haven't seen it. So I'm sorry. And I'm not saying Wentz is booty. I'm just not hyping him up like you guys are. I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback because he's not. A top 5 quarterback literally changes the outcome of the game. And he doesn't do that. He does not do that. He doesn't change the outcome of the game. Like last year against the Redskins, we came back on them. The Redskins suck. I was expecting us to win that game. All right. He came back against the Giants. We were down, 17-3 at halftime? Are you kidding me? The Giants were one of the worst teams in the league last year, and we've owned the Giants. He comes back and throws it to a wide open Zach Ertz in the middle of the end zone last year. That's how bad the Giants were because they let the best player on the field wide open. The Giants were terrible. I wasn't shocked that they came back in that game. And then you have Zob text me. He's like, oh, he starts crying on the phone. He's like, this guy came back against the Giants. Are you kidding me? Like, seriously, they left the best player on the team wide open that he usually throws to anyway. Because they're like, I don't know what their fucking relationship is. It's like they sleep in the same bed together. Wentz injury is lingering. It is. I agree 110%. The last 4 games was cancer-free practice squad turned the Eagles team's good. I mean, I don't really get that comment. I mean, I'm going to try to figure that one out. Maybe I'll get back to you, but you can't put everything on Wentz. I don't ever put everything on Wentz, but these other players blame everyone else but him. That's what makes me furious. Because if you're going to blame everyone else for a loss, why not the guy that leads the team? I don't get it. Usually, the Eagles fans that I knew growing up when I was in middle school and high school would bash the guy because we lost the game no matter what. They would bash Donovan McNabb if we lost the game and be like, this guy's time is up. He's done. He sucks, even though he brought us to 4 straight NFC championship games. It just doesn't make any sense to me how you don't bash the guy that runs the ship. I never got that. We were down to a lowly Washington Redskins team week 1 of the season. And all these people came at me saying, oh, you don't need to start these players in the preseason. They could potentially get hurt. Well, you got to give them reps if you want to win the game. It's just how it is. Saints fan said, what's up, man? We're coming for that ass this year, by the way. Watch Wentz film against the Vikings. You'll be pissed by the second quarter. I watched the game. He was horrible. Wentz was terrible that game. Literally horrible. He has a 7-20 record against winning teams for his career. 7-20. All right? Is that good? Is that good to you guys? I totally get this Jalen Hurts pick now. That is horrible. That is horrendous. And the one year we did go to the Super Bowl, what was the one team we struggled against? Who wasn't even that good, I might mind you. The Seattle Seahawks. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's all facts. These idiots, they don't listen. They don't want to. They only want to talk about what they want to hear. It just bothers me. It bothers me. It doesn't help that you yell at people. Calm down. I'm yelling because I'm pissed. I'm mad. I have a lot of passion. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm a passionate, diehard fan. I want the team to be as successful as they could possibly be. I'm sick of typing on Twitter to people that look at the past of me just talking shit to people because they didn't get it. I'm sick of typing. I'd rather use my words to yell at people. That's what I'd rather do because it makes more sense. Jesus Christ. My face is turning all right now. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm just very, very passionate about the Philadelphia Eagles. I have always been this way. I get heated when I see shit like this because I know it's not true. I know it's not true what these fans are thinking or saying. I just know it's not true. They can't be thinking that this guy is a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. They cannot be thinking that. They cannot be thinking that with a clear mind unless they're on drugs. They can't be thinking that. You can have passion without screaming every time someone disagrees with you. Listen, I try not to yell. I try to make as much sense as I can without cursing or yelling. But the fans just don't get it. They won't get it until I scream at them. That 4-game stretch against a lowly competition definitely gave him that confidence he lacked in 2017. I'm really curious and excited for 2020. I'm curious and excited for 2020 because it's a new season. Let's just face it, Zach. Zach, buddy, pal, you're one of the smartest guys I know. You're on my podcast. It definitely gave him confidence because he's playing these suck-ass, garbage teams. These dreadful, top-of-the-draft teams going into the game. It was already a win. We had 4 straight games to win to get into the playoffs against the worst teams in the league and a team that gave up on Jason Garrett. And they were on the road. They scored 9 points. And they didn't give the defense any credit. They didn't give Sidney Jones any credit for that tip at the end of the game. It was like the headline of the paper the next day. You could look it up on the Daily Sports magazine in Philadelphia. Nick who? Are you serious? They scored 9 points. I had nothing to do with Carson Wentz. It had nothing to do with him. Jesus Christ. My face is getting red. As you can see, I'm Jesus Christ. Man, let me get to some of these comments. You shouldn't let the annoying Wentz fans get in your head. The problem is, Jamie, and I'm going to explain this in the most clear tone as possible. The Wentz fans are ruining this fan base that used to be so lethal, so up in your face, would boo you if you didn't get your job right. They are turning this fan base into a bunch of soft pussies. That's what they're doing. The reason why I started following the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2001 is because the fan base was so hardcore. They were so hardcore. They boo their own players. They wanted their team to succeed. They were on your ass. The opposing fans, they'd throw bottles and batteries at. They probably still do that. But still, it's like the fan base has completely shifted a 180. I want these Wentz fans to get out of here. I want them gone. They don't know what they're talking about. They're idiots, and people follow them. They're dumb. They're really dumb. To be fair, Wentz has no control over the schedule or when he has to play a certain team. Yeah, well, when he plays a certain team and they're a good team, he usually fails. He's 7-20 against winning teams. 7-20. 7-20. Zach Harris, yeah, I understand, but guess what? Stats matter and the most wins. Yeah, 7-20. 7-20 against winning teams. 7-20. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Nitro Freak, a top 5 QB is 2016 run the table Rodgers. Yeah. Rodgers was amazing for years, and he's declining obviously, but Rodgers was awesome. He was awesome. He was one of my favorite players to watch, and he always kicked our ass. 95% of our fan base are these annoying Wentz fans. No, it's funny you say that because it's not 95% of our fan base. It's actually the Wentz fans that show up on Twitter are probably like in middle school or high school. Like you could tell by what they talk about and how they say things. They're probably very young, and they just don't get it. They don't get the pain of the real Philadelphia Eagles fan that dealt with the pain and suffering of choking every single year when we were in position to win. Like, they don't get it. They don't get it. They like to hype up a guy that, he's the leader of the team, he's the captain of the team, and we have 7-win teams and 9-win teams and 10-win teams at best. We had one 13-win team that, Nick Foles finished for us. And he had one great season. He had one. He's proven nothing ever since. And I guess I'm more of that old school Philadelphia fan that says it like it is. He just hasn't been good enough. He hasn't. On paper, you can look at the stats and say, oh, wow, he doesn't really turn the ball over that much. Well, he has 46 fumbles since coming into the league. Is that good to you? Is 46 fumbles coming to the league good to you? All right. And most of these touchdowns came either at garbage time or in situations where it was the least pressure. If you watch film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's crazy to me. It's just crazy, and I'm trying to stop yelling. I really am. It's insane. Frank Reich was – I feel like Frank Reich was the mechanic of that team. I really do. Oh, my God. Zach, my buddy, back with it. Zach Kyle is lucky I'm watching my niece, Jake Kyle. I love the passion, even if we don't always agree. We're not always going to agree. That's why I brought you guys on, because we're very diverse. We're very diverse on how we see things and what we talk about. That's why I love having the panel I do, even though Zomp's a complete jackass sometimes. It is 7:20 or not. Is it 7:29? It's 7 for 20. Jeff, it's 7 wins and 20 losses against winning teams, top echelon teams in the league. 7 wins, 20 losses. Not 20-7. 7 wins and 20 losses. All right? Why don't we just trade him then? Oh, brought up a good point. This is my point about Jalen Hurts that I was talking about earlier on. That's why they picked him. Because when they have the out in the contract in 2022, this guy will be groomed for 2 years, and then they can decide whether to move on from Carson Wentz or not. It's up to them. They're being smart. They're protecting their assets. That's what they're doing. It makes sense. It was an A-plus draft. A-plus draft. 110%. I miss Joe Douglas more than Frank Reich. I miss Joe Douglas with a fucking passion. I really do. Someone says I'm horrible. Yeah, whatever. It will be hard for them, Nitro, these kids who don't remember what it's like going to 4 straight NFC championship games, losing 3 of them, and then losing to the close Super Bowl to the Patriots. They'll never get it. They'll never get it because they were born into success like the Patriots fans were. The Patriots fans were terrible before 2000 season. They were horrible. They haven't won a ring. All of a sudden, they win every single year. It's easy to talk about wins and a Super Bowl when you're born into it, when you grow up into it. I don't see it like that. I see we won the Super Bowl. It was the best night of my life, and I'm ready to win another one. I want the best team out there. And I'm sorry, bringing back LaShawn McCoy isn't going to do that. LaShawn McCoy's done. Why are we even talking about bringing him back? It doesn't make any sense to me. Where's the crew, man? They're not here right now because Zomp is playing Uno with his brother. Zach is watching his niece, and Trevor is down the shore, I think. I don't know. It's just me today. My God. Can you explain what protecting your assets mean? All right, protecting your assets, basically, what you have on your team, it's basically an insurance policy where if Carson Wentz doesn't perform up to the contract that you gave him, you have someone to take his place when you trade them away. All right. So your assets will always be good. Now, if you're a liability, which is the exact opposite of an asset, if you're a liability, that could cause your team havoc for the next 10 to 15 years, which are the Raiders. The Raiders from 2003 to 2017 were absolutely horrible. Terrible. Do you want us to turn into that? That's what protecting your assets means. You protect what is on your team. It's just how it is. Would you have preferred the Eagles to jump ahead of Dallas to get CeeDee Lamb? Nah, I like Jalen Reagor. That was my guy. I'd rather roll with Clement than Shady. I would too. Clement is a Super Bowl hero. He caught that pass between double coverage, perfect throw by Nick Foles, and Clement's the best. I love Clement. Man, Breeze has been so unlucky these last 3 years. Yeah, I mean, Breeze is great, but this team hasn't showed up. All right. By the way, guys, this has been a great stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday. This went over half hour. I didn't really see this going over half hour, but I got carried away. And yeah, just for a brief summary, if you guys are just tuning in, if Carson Wentz doesn't live up to his contract the next 2 years, I feel like he will be out the door, and Jalen Hurts will take his place after he was groomed by the Philadelphia Eagles for 2 years because he's only 21. Have a good weekend. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend. If you're already, I don't know where you're watching this. Maybe the beach. Who knows? Maybe I'll go down. Bye.